Yeah, I know there was a lot of interesting discussion, and I think just as you say, Lena, it's like it's the cooperation from all these different parts that would actually make the change, and it's so important. And the challenge with that is that like startups has one pace, and like the state-owned organization has a completely different pace. So to get these to work together, that is a challenge, but it's also when that happens that we're really gonna like see a big difference. And I think that could goes also to like startups not working with like the big ecosystems, but also because we have so many solutions today, we actually have. So focusing on the business model to also get all these solutions out is something that would be also very interesting from a growth perspective, not only growing your own startups, but to cooperate with others to achieve the goal faster, because we need it for the planet and for the humanity. So I think that's very interesting from a business model perspective. I think we need to feed that into entrepreneurs and startups already from the beginning. To make more of a like trend analysis, to find others to cooperate with in different countries. And I think that is very, very interesting in the time we live now, where we can actually meet, no matter where you are in the world, we can actually cooperate in a completely new way than we actually did just 1.5 years ago. So I'm interested to see what that can lead to. And we have some discussion with our startups right now. There are other solutions. Can you, instead of developing this big platform and put on hours and hours and so much money into it, corporate and maybe lease and commonly try to get that solution out in the world. I think that's something that we will see very much in the future. I hope, at least, because then we can make the transition much faster. Yeah.
Yes. Great. I love that we now have interaction with all you attendees here. We have another question, Jenny.
Yes, a short one. What do you exactly mean with sustainable business model canvas as tool you use? There are a lot of SBM canvases.
I think from our part, we're talking about the Sustainable Business Canvas that is from the Resilience Center of Stockholm. That's one sustainable business canvas that I think most of us who work in Sweden work with that.
Yeah. Is that the same for you, Lena?
We've been working with that, but I would also say that we have been exploring with different models because different groups have different needs. Yeah. So we try to go from the participating companies and redesign some of the models to fit into our different programs. And I think that might be a trend overall to see that maybe all these models that we have had as framework in the past is challenged by the individualization and different startups and scale-ups choosing their own path for the future and having maybe isolated one question to take the next step in their growth journey. So I think from my perspective, we are also trying to find and customize different models to fit into what will be the next step. And that is a quite interesting experience as well. But I'm really happy that we have the models and the framework to start off from, but we are also exploring different ways.
And I guess it's also a lot of transforming the knowledge with all of us working in the innovation system, because it's like you have a model, a sustainable business canvas, but you also need to feed in a lot of new knowledge into that to be able to work with it.
And I would like, yeah, right. I would like to add to something that you mentioned earlier, because we were talking about how the startups are very insightful and they know that they need to work with sustainability. But I would say that this is very much consumer driven. The consumers put pressure on the companies to develop more sustainable offers. But in the business to business segment, I would not say that we have come all the way. We are on a learning journey, and I would say like Fossil Free Sweden is a really great initiative, but it's still on the top management level. It's not all the way down in the R&D operations in all the companies. So in some perspectives, I think we have a learning journey to raise awareness within the corporates also to demand the right solutions and the right sustainable solutions from the startups. So I think there's a lot of work to be done still.
It is, and we can see that when you work, it's still the economic drivers are still so fundamental in our way of thinking when it comes to business. So that we have a long way to walk, but we're getting there, and a lot of things have changed. But we have to have a different mindset, and that's also challenge us who works with it. What is the bottom line and the triple bottom line? Yeah. So that.
And one way of challenging that is, of course, to work together with others, like you have done with UNOPS or SBI. So let's talk a bit about collaborative partnerships. Can you tell us a bit, even more, Murat, how you work together?
Murat, do you want to start, or?
Yeah, probably it's the same story. So we actually came together and try to find ways how we can collaborate. Obviously, we are quite young. We just started as well, and so we want to play an important role to facilitate and also exchange knowledge and transfer knowledge and help each other out with these things that we are not experts in, obviously, and vice versa. So anything SDG related, I think the doors are open, and we actually created a system where we bring in startups and one incubator, in this case H5, explains what they can do and how they can help them with their business model if they need it, and so on and so forth. In this way, we kind of also, and from a H5 side, then also we're trying to help the companies, if possible, to get them in our program or get them networks that we have globally as well, which might be helpful for them from the global perspective. So in this way, we kind of close the gaps that we have, I think, and use our knowledge that we have as a ecosystem together to innovate and help the startups to develop their ideas. So that's one way to do it. And obviously there's a lot of things that we can do, but it's also, hypothesis, test it, does it work? And then you can increase the collaboration.
Yeah. We also had one UNOPS talks together where we told our story on how we built an inclusive and gender equal incubator together with Vinnova, and gave our perspective on that to a bigger audience, which is also a very important topic. So that's also something that we did together.
Yeah. So the reach was Asia, from Africa. So we had an audience also from South America, maybe not, it was too early for them. But so in that region, we could have seen like a reach with these talks. And I think it showcases also our role in the ecosystem. We can play this window to the globe. Let's call it that way.
Yeah. And from our side, we see it from social also sustainability, that we could, sharing is caring. If we could help some of the startups that are in your incubator, we could help by that also to make hopefully the world a little bit better by sharing our knowledge, and we could share your knowledge within our startups, and they could get help from you. So I think that's a very good way of working, of course.
Yeah, and Lena, you turned a hackathon into a global jam with collaborative partnerships. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so we ran the hackathon for 5 or 6 years, and it was really amazing, not least the learning journey that the participants and the sponsors did during a weekend. But then we felt like with the global goals and the 2030 agenda, and as I was saying before, that collaboration is key to succeeding, we wanted to redesign our process and make it more collaborative. So we made the Global Impact Jam instead, which actually is all about collaborating. So we've been working with different challenges. One of them were violence against women, and we took on people with that had experienced being violated. We took in police force, we took in engineers and other contributors to the table, and then we formed different groups. And every group got to build on each other's ideas. So there was not like the competing format, but the collaborative format, because everyone want to contribute to lower violence against women. So I find this process more, for one thing, it's inclusive. For another thing, it's all about how we can bring our gifts to the table. How can we contribute all people into building a more sustainable society that we all would like to live in? So that's what we try to do with the process called Global Impact Jam. And I'd love to share it if anyone's interested. It's free to use. And it's not unique, but it's a good process.
Great, thank you for that. We only have 2 minutes left. Jenny, do you have any really short questions requiring a short answer?
Really short. Yes, of course. To do with ecosystems and businesses working together, do you think sustainability and scalability can be contradictory forces in situations of businesses mutually working together to solve complex problems? They can compete, but they can also...
Is that the shortest question you could find?
Yes, that's the shortest one.
I would say no to that, because I think if you find the new solutions that are scalable, that would be a great opportunity to actually scale them. I don't see the contradictory into that one. And for instance, I talked before about accelerating the use of new technology, which proves to actually lower emissions, for instance. But I'm not sure I answered the questions. I hope that I did.
Great, thank you very much. So do you have any closing remarks from the panel? Anna?
Well, my biggest takeaway then, or if we look at the future, I think more collabs to getting good ideas out in the world will be that's what I hope we will do more and more of in the future.
Thank you. Murat?
My would be next step, circular business models. So these are things that we now work on with a local member, with TP. So we will try to change their business model into at least some part into circular business model, and also implementing impact investing methodology to startups in their impact metrics. Put a monetary value towards sustainability. And then it may be not a problem, coming back to the question, that you can showcase the value of your sustainability as cost avoided or value created. And then maybe it gives you more leeway to put sustainability and scalability together in a way, or also attract money. And those are my closing remarks. And feel free, get in touch, because I have to get anchor studies from academia and researchers. So that's important.
Great. Thank you. We are actually on overtime, but Lena, you will also get your closing remarks.
Thank you. And I would like to add to what Murat is saying. I also believe circular business models in combination with the ecosystem innovation will be a way to address the global challenges. I also think that we need to see more of private and public partnership to actually reach implementation and scale of new solutions. So policymakers need to work side by side with the investors and the private sector in order to make this transformational change. Thank you.
Great. Thank you all so much for joining me here in this panel. And thank you all attendees who actually interacted with us. I love that. So we are done.
We are done. Thank you
very
Peter.
much.